hand claim that more is to come and then also downplay the significance of what will come out later.
So this is what Trump's trying to say. People like Whitney Webb, which in my opinion, she's CIA, okay? But it will never be happy no matter what is released. That will always be the point, is that nothing will ever be enough. It will never be that they released everything. That's what the Democrats will do. And the issue, and I know a ton of people think, no, Whitney Webb has brought us the truth. No, I think she's an absolute CIA asset. She's a CIA asset. We don't know anything about her family because she's that private, and you could say, well, that's to protect herself. Okay, well, she lives in Chile. But, I mean, she's a journalist. We can't even know the names of her parents. Yeah, because I would bet they're tied to intelligence, okay? Because she's classic intelligence, what she's doing. So she brings a bunch of truth, like she connects the banking and all of that to all of these billionaires, okay? But then where I lost belief in her is that she shifts that Trump is all one of them. And I thought, well, that's strange. She's such a bright woman and she's so smart, but then she's stupid when it comes to Trump. And because it's like she never brings up that he met with the FBI in the 80s. She's because it's that document that I showed earlier, it proves that Trump was always on the up and up. Okay, so she has an inability to put together that he's an insider, like he said. But that's why I say she's CIA, because she's been meant to push the narrative that we don't have all the documents. Nobody's going to be held accountable. Trump is just one of the elites like the rest. But I thought, God, if she's so smart, why is she so stupid too? Oh, well, because she's CIA. She's meant to do what she's doing, which is why she got to go on Glenn Beck and she went on all these podcasts. And she connects a bunch of dots. I'm not saying she doesn't. But then she also leads you down a path that is speculation and that is never giving Trump the benefit of the doubt. It's like, you want to talk about Epstein and trafficking, and it's like, why didn't Whitney Webb ever explain to any of her audiences that Trump literally was doing something about trafficking with his executive orders, with Ivanka Trump, okay, in his first term? And that's the reason I started speaking up, actually. What it was because I was a nurse in an ER in a rural neighborhood, in a rural town, and I started seeing these trafficking victims come in. Not children; they were young women between 18 and like 23, and they were coming in regularly. And I'm like, this is strange, because I was a psych nurse in the ER, so they would come in sometimes psychotic, but usually it was suicidal because of trauma. They were fresh out of trafficking, and this was a home in my county. It was a transition home to help them heal with other women that had been through, years of being trafficked, so that they could easier transition into their home. They came from all over the country. They were in different locations, and it was directly in Trump's executive order. Why didn't his executive orders about ending human trafficking, why didn't she ever talk about that? Because she's a total CIA asset. So she'll tell you a bunch of truths about, Wexner and JP Morgan Chase and all of these connections. But at the same time, while she's doing that, she's pushing you in a certain direction. And so it's like, how can you be so smart in all this other and be a total idiot when it comes to not wanting to mention that Trump and his executive orders with ending human trafficking? I mean, he showed in all of his deeds that that's what he was doing. Okay, his executive orders show it. His pattern and history with the FBI shows that he was always on the up and up. Why didn't she say that ever talk about him working with, saying to the FBI that they should use his casinos to catch organized crime? Why doesn't she ever mention that he's talked about you have to have an insider to take this down? Because she's not meant to. She's CIA. That's the reason she gets to go on all the podcasters, and she will be an example of the people that will say, we never will have all the evidence, because then they can forever keep America in misery with their bullshit. I'm sure she never mentioned this. Yeah, the eve of Donald Trump's election, the first term, suddenly Epstein went to Saudi Arabia, flew into Saudi Arabia. When they emptied his house, like his safe in his New York house, he had all these, like fake passports, and one of his aliases he went by was Mark Raymond. And then he had a Saudi address. I know that Whitney Webb brings up the Crown family a lot, but she tends to go in this direction, like that they're all connected to this, and they could be. I'm just saying, I think it's more that these people, like Epstein, were tied to terrorist organizations. I do. I think that's what it was. And so not that they weren't, the thing I noticed with Epstein is he was always, I think the people that he didn't have a connection with were the people he would say, oh, I know him or this person so-and-so real well. Because he does that all the time. He did that with this one. Like to where he says he knows them, but it's only based on his word. There's no other evidence. However, you can't fly into Saudi Arabia in your private jet without the royal family knowing. But nobody knows if the two of them met or not. So, but then again, think how Trump went there. It was the first stop and when he went on his foreign trips. So why do I bring this up? Because I think that, again, the people that are most importantly connected to Epstein is the Clintons, okay? Obama, but Clinton. I mean, how many? It was like, what, on the island 60 times, okay? Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, all tied to this, okay? Yet everybody wants to keep blaming Trump because Trump's the one, that came in to do something about it. They all knew, all these people knew Trump getting elected wasn't good for them. So they're good at shifting everything around, and they're going to, they know how to move the players around and get their people in place so they can make it seem like Trump is the problem. This was posted by Donald Trump in 2024. Trump and Epstein, the truth emerges. And as you can see, it says it was a smear in 2016, and it's a smear today. So see, you don't know what to believe because you have the CIA that's running an operation with this. I believe, I don't know if it'll ever come out, but I absolutely believe Whitney Webb is CIA. Because, how can she be so smart and so stupid? So all the stuff she leaves out about Trump, she deliberately does it to make it seem like he's just one of the elites. And then Trump had posted this in 2024. Yeah, Nikki Haley, E. Jean Carroll, and Fusion GPS backer was Epstein Island visitor. Okay, so they're all tied. That's why Trump is saying nowadays, why are Republicans falling for this? Okay, because as I'm going to show you in this, Hoffman, who was tied to the island, is also known for having secretly bankrolled E. Jean Carroll's civil case alleging that Trump raped her in 95 or 96. Carroll initially claimed she had been receiving no outside funding but was not sanctioned by Bill Clinton appointed judge Lewis Kaplan when the truth came out. Kaplan also ruled jurors could not be told about, I can't see the rest, but you can, because I can't see it because of the recording. Hoffman also contributed more than $600,000 to the legal defense fund of Bean LLC, otherwise known as Fusion GPS, the company responsible for the creation of the Steele dossier, which spread various false accusations of links between Trump and Russia. You see how they've all connected. It's all the same problem, all the same lies. So this is literally why Trump is trying to say that they're smearing him. Okay, like they use this up because think about it, these people knew that Trump was an insider. They knew he was coming in. They knew they were all history. So what do they all do? They take this very thing they know is going, that he'll go after, and they turn it to make it like he's the big monster when it's not the case at all. And yet all of these people, there's so many things that Whitney Webb doesn't want to tell you about. That's the issue I have with Whitney Webb. It's the CIA. That's the reason it's so convoluted with you don't know what to believe. But the fact is that Trump has shown in his deeds he was about ending trafficking. Whitney Webb shows that she's smart in some areas, almost like a CIA asset, but an idiot in others. I wouldn't trust her. Not a bit.